on the map. But game 2, gamble a bit in the draft, gave the Akali over, said we got the tools to deal with Akali. Akali, well, she got really fed, and Perks managed to carry the game together with Wonder for G2 Esports. Let's see, adaptations for game 3. We once again have the same sides. Splyce have banned Swain, Rise, both games, and then they had Olaf banning game 1, Rakan banning game 2. They actually now take away the Akali, so much for we believe we can control Perks.
All we have to do is stop it from snowballing. Now, well, you stopped it from snowballing.
That's the best way to stop it from snowballing. Akali showing up once again after actually here doing the gauntlet. She's not been a first pick / first ban kind of champion, even though she was actually in the past.
I think they're trying to force out a Skarner ban here with that Trundle ban.
It definitely feels like they're trying to set up the proper Skarner setup because they were not scared of the Zac. Despite it being a good game from Xerxes, the Zac can't do anything to the Skarner specifically. So it is screaming Skarner first pick from G2 again.
And see, the thing is Xerxes is a madman. We know that this guy loves new picks, so I'm wondering what he can actually bring to the table to deal with this, because this is all but certainly the first pick lock-in for G2.
And it feels like the best first pick possible. Like, insane win rate. So much value in game.
100% is pretty insane.
That's insane win rate right there. Statement stands. You can't get any better than that.
That's true. It's the best.
All right, Splyce, what's your answer right now? Before it was Xayah, both games, and then you took Zac for Xerxes, and you then also drafted a bunch of lanes that lost, and then you did nothing and you just died. It's a prom change. Not the Xayah.
I like the come down there, Thuja. Thank you. You did nothing and you died. Well, they're hovering the Diana for now. We know that's going to turn into a different champion. Braum has been banned every single game by G2 up until this point, alongside the Morgana, and Splyce still clearly prioritizing it. I like the Olaf here. Early game to match early game, but definitely harder to get value out of Olaf than it is to get out of Skarner.
Well, it's a lot more focus on early now compared to the Zac, so that is the adaptation for Splicing. We will once again leave the Skarner open. We know you're gonna pick it. Here's our answer, that Olaf, that's actually been banned a lot. Playoffs, Gauntlet, because it is just considered the best snowball jungler, because he's so good in the early game with, you know, so much damage, so much movement speed with Predator as well.
They're just gonna go Jhin again, I think.
I mean, probably last game with the Jhin, they had a strong bot lane, and Splyce couldn't shut it down.
They banned the Varus, they banned, you know, the strongest laning AD carry I think we have currently. So picking up the Jhin, ensuring that they get that safe bot lane, that they get that strong jungler, and saving their last 2 picks for their solo laners, who we know have some pretty deep champion pools.
On the side of Splyce here, they grabbed Sion last time for Domino up in the top lane, and then the Aatrox came in, obviously from Wonder, and just completely shut him down. They can pick his tank now and just ban away the Aatrox if they want to, but it is a Rise pick instead. It is flexed, can go to top side. But they're putting a bit more faith now towards Niski, not saying, if it is a Rise mid that is, not saying here's a Galio just trying to survive against Akali. You can actually play around this. Like, it's a lot more early game focus from Splyce. Predator, Olaf, you have gank set up for bot with Braum, gank set up potentially for mid with the Rise. I think Xerxes could have a huge early game here.
Absolutely, and snowballing Niski is obviously a fantastic idea, as this guy has been fantastic. The Aatrox banned away from Wonder. I don't think it's too surprising to see that one taken off the board. Splyce didn't like it against Misfits. They don't like it against G2 either. And interestingly enough, Ornn taken away preemptively from Ottawamne.
I think it's a good ban. Ornn is one of the best picks against Tahm Kench specifically, because it's AoE engaged, so even though he devours the one guy, he still gets knocked up, and then you end up not actually saving the AD carry right after, because you just spit him out where he came from. And Vayne ban against Kobe right here. He did play it yesterday in the last game.
What does that tell us?
Tells us they are respecting what Splyce could do if they go all the way to late, because they're not scared of the Vayne in the laning phase. Kobe back on Tristana now.
Right.
Did play it in playoffs against Schalke. Tristana Braum, man. Xerxes going bot lane. Tristana Braum is one of those lanes where Tristana can jump forward, Braum can jump to the Tristana, and then you're in melee range of whatever target it is, and you will get your CC down as a Braum into then a Predator gank from Olaf. Like, there's a lot of ways for Xerxes to have an insane game.
Ooh, and now the Aurelia locked in. Perks wants to go toe-to-toe with Niski. This is very risky, to be honest. Going up against the Rise Olaf duo in the mid lane. Feeling confident there, though, with the Skarner Aurelia. 2 very powerful 2v2 lanes, and Wonder, he got his time in the sun. He got the Urgot, he got the Aatrox. Now it is back to tank duty, back to the Sion.
And I assume it's going to be just a tank coming in from Morgana on his side. Now, do they want frontline killers in a Cho'Gath? Do they instead want the Maokai, which gives you the guaranteed lockdown, which is kind of the reason you can pick him instead of a Cho'Gath here on this side. Poppy is also available, but I don't think it's necessary here. So it is the guaranteed lockdown. And a lot of these fights are going to be about Perks on Irelia. What is he doing? Who is he actually getting onto? If Perks cannot reach the back line, I think Splyce with the Tristana, they do have good scaling, but I'm really looking at Olaf in the early game.
And we have to remember how difficult it can be sometimes to snowball this Aurelia if the enemy team can stall you out. Because we saw in the finals, when Nukeduck got that Aurelia in the final game, even when they put caps into the ground, Ryze came back and was incredible in the late game team fights. And it was so hard for Nukeduck to actually play this one out. So now we get to see how Perks does this. How does Perks snowball this matchup, keep this Aurelia ahead of the curve, and try to shut down what Splyce is bringing to the table?
Yeah, we know he can look for 1v1 kills. Like, Irelia is insane at level 6, especially with Sheen. Just to like trying to burst someone down, like even Phage, honestly, you're still gonna try and kill them 1v1. And he can do it. His Akali was perfect, honestly, in the last game. I like the faith they put on the star player. Like, this is why Perks is the franchise name on G2 Esports. Because he can, when it really matters, step up and carry the team. But I think Splyce on their side, with the adaptation with the Olaf, if Cersei pulls off the greatest early game he's ever played, he just snowballs completely.
And you remember the stakes now. Lose here, you're up against match point, lose again. You're out of the series, you're out of the gauntlet, you're out of Worlds. Your entire year cut down in an instant.
Your entire year is a failure for both Splyce and G2. The story stands. None of them won the spring split. None of them won the summer split. They can't sit back and say, we did something at least. No, you have to go to Worlds to make this a successful year for your organization.
And here, folks, in game 3, 1-1. Neither team with an advantage. It's just a best of 3 from this point out. G2 versus Splyce. Playoffs contenders both knocked out in the quarterfinals. This is Perks' first Aurelia game. Here, when the pressure is on, he's going to try it up against Niski. Have to see how he does, how he utilizes the passives, and what the duo of Xerxes and Niski can do against Jankos and Perks. Is this the game where we finally see the Jankos-Perks duo become the legends that everyone expected them to be?
They tried with the Zac in game 1. They got a couple of early kills, but then the game around them just kind of fell apart. But I want to go back to Xerxes. He's not an Olaf player. This is the second time in all of 2018 he's playing Olaf. The first time he played it, he lost. He did nothing. It was just, it didn't work for him. He's back on this champion. It's a gamble from the Splyce staff, but obviously we have to assume that he's been very successful on it in scrims, so he's confident taking it, because otherwise they could have just banned it like they've done in some of the other games. Or actually in this game, didn't even have to ban it, because you know Skarner was going to get picked.
In Division, you talk about scrim picks, you talk about stage picks. We've already agreed Skarner is a stage pick. This champion does work when the pressure is on. The question is, for Xerxes, is the Olaf a stage pick or a scrim pick? We're going to find out in the Skarner. Just continuing to prove that. Now, keep in mind, this was played by 2 different teams, but it's important for us to highlight why this champion is contested, why it has a 100% win rate. You can see incredible jungle proximity, CS leads, and always involved in these early game kills. Once level 6 comes around, Skarner is killing somebody.
K plus A, 1.
We got him, dude.
Hey, he got the one he needed. That's true. Trust me, he did a lot more in game than just get 1 kill or assist. Like, he fully controlled the river because he was against the Zac. He was always being proactive. It's not a Zac this time, but man, Cersei, there's so much pressure on you on this. Second time you played all year long. Can you perform?
We have an update. The stats team said in my ear as you said that. This is the second time ever in Xerxes'
ever
career in the EULCS.
Even better statement.
Not just this year, ever. And for now, we judge his mechanics. He's doing a real good job of pushing Q&W. He's farming up nice and quick. And the good news about the Olaf is where every other champion in the series, Zac, has given up these Scuttle Crabs earlier. Olaf is actually a threat in the early game.
It's true, but I think a lot of, Olaf focus is going to be around the ganks with Predator. And that's where we can judge, is he actually going to pull it off successfully? Because if you don't do anything, if you just farm, the later you go into the game, the harder it is for Olaf, because while his damage is okay, like, it's nothing special. And you can suddenly actually start surviving. He's all in, doing the ult, and then kill him right after. It's an all in.
He wants to reset.
He needs a shield. He didn't get it. He didn't get it.
Get it. My Aurelia with passive stacks is an insane champion. And Perks just continues to prove it here.
Oh man, Splyce, you tried to ban the Akali, you said, fine, Perks, you're not going to play that champ that can snowball. You grab the Ryze, you do not actually get rid of anything mid lane from Perks, and then he gets the Aurelia. We said there's solo kill potential after level 6. This is level 2. He's all in. I think he might have gotten just to level 3, and then he goes in.
Passive is at 4 stacks when he goes in, Deficio.
Yeah, gets to level 3, jumps in.
Conqueror.
He times the whole thing also with getting that minion for level 3 to then all in onto Nisqy. Nisqy can't do anything back because he didn't get to flash any of the damage, and that's not the start you're looking for.
Definitely not. We can see what happens in the previous game when you give Perkz the start that he's looking for. 604, 607 damage per minute, a 30 CS lead in lane. Perkz is a monster if you give him that advantage. And while he can't tower dive Nisqy quite yet, this is a sizable lead for him early on.
And we had a story going into playoffs, which was the Nisqy playoff buff, where he started playing much better in the big series, and he actually became the star player on Splyce. Not the case yesterday. Him versus EULCS was actually very even, based on what we saw in the game. And it was all about Kobe being the big carry. This series so far as well, not been about Nisqy at all for Splyce. And now he's down 1-0 already in his lane. All the focus is once again on your AD carry, but also on the jungler. And so far, Xerxes, he's done his clear. He's gotten Predator now with his boots. Same thing for EULCS. First gank from the Olaf needs to be successful.
Absolutely has to be. Olaf, unlike Skarner, does not have the luxury of this bit of CC in the late game of forcing out those QSS buys. If it snowballs, insane champion. But if it can't, pretty lackluster in the fights to come.
He's around mid lane right now. Maybe to check if Perkz will all in again.
Can't get the reset, buying a bit of time here. Both sides are going to look to back off. He has multiple resets. Perkz just going to dash out with the Blade Surge. Is on cooldown now. There we go. There we go. Xerxes wants one more. Can he actually turn this one back? Can't get it in the end. Perkz!
No, he's alive. He gets out just in time. Xerxes did not throw another axe towards him. EULCS and Perkz managed to stay alive, but I guess first gank from Xerxes, we will call it successful, seeing as he actually saved his mid laner and forced Perkz back and almost killed him. Didn't fully get what he needed, but he will instantly go for the Ocean Drake.
Pretty important, especially for Nisqy in the mid lane, who hasn't even had a chance to back yet for the tier or the Catalyst if he wants it in the early laning phase. Having this free 7 minutes is actually just incredible in the games to come, and they're not even going to contest it as Skarner is on the top side, and they are with an incredibly low mid laners. Perkz finally does get to back here. Just buying bits and pieces, not able to finish any major items quite yet. So Splyce firing back with an objective of their own. They may still be down 300 gold, but the Ocean Drake, a very happy prize to have at this point in the game.
The best you got out of the situation right there, seeing as you didn't pick up the kill. So I want to go back and actually see with Xerxes.
And Deficio, it's actually important to highlight as you look at that, the CS difference in the mid lane is still very Nisqy favored. 30 now to 41 as Perkz is able to catch a wave here. So Nisqy, despite, yes, very much losing out on kill pressure, is managing to keep up at least a little bit in gold. Really only that kill keeping them apart at this stage of the game.
Oh, and almost unlucky here for Xerxes. Obviously, when you pick up the axe, there's a small delay before you can throw it again, but he was in tower range, so he didn't want to stay in there risking dying, and that's why he didn't get to throw a last axe, because he had to walk back out of turret. Perkz got far enough away from him, and then the red buff didn't get to do the job, and Perkz managed to stay alive. Still though, didn't use flash on the side of Nisqy or Xerxes. That is huge. If they want to go mid again, they can. There's no flash on Perkz' side. But I'm also still going to look at the bot lane. I really think with Braum Tristana, you can jump with it pretty easily if Olaf is there and just run him down if he's pushing.
For now, though, G2 are trying to mount as much pressure in the lane as possible. Boots 2 coming in from Kabe, the Reckless special, really, to buy those early on. Does pull him out here. Instead of an extra dagger, though, he does go for the long sword, heralding an early arrival of the Stormrazor if he can afford to get it. Of course, in the mid lane, level 6 now arriving for Perkz. Bit of a rough spot for Ryze to be in. His level 6 basically useless in this 1v1, but Perkz, of course, a little bit terrifying with that Vanguard's edge if he wants to go. And this is the point where you expected Deficio, Perkz, to actually have kill pressure in the matchup. And with a 1 kill advantage, it may just come true.
Well, there's no completed item just yet on his side. Not even one of the small components towards the Trinity Force. So he's level 6 as well on this Olaf here. He's looking for another player around mid, knowing that this 2v2 is insane right now for Splyce with Ryze and Olaf together. EULCS not level 6 on his side, didn't even get to kill the Grump right there. In terms of experience,
I think he's sticking around
close.
to smite it away. Yeah, he wants it. If he gets level 6 with the smite here, it could turn.
Yeah, if he'd gotten the Grump, he would have gotten level 6 for himself, but he was denied, and Perkz decided not to go in and try and fight them. He's actually out of mana as well on the Irelia, so Splyce able to steal away a blue buff. G2 not able to contest, and much better early game from Splyce, despite the solo kill compared to last one.
You see that solo kill and you start to get worried, but Splyce have stopped the bleeding. They've taken the small advantages they can get with the AXP advantage that Xerxes has built up for himself in the jungle, though. Wadid getting a little bit cheeky here. A few more stacks to leap out to safety. Jankos with the Predator still running forward, but they're not going to find an opportunity. Splyce not looking to overcommit anywhere.
Jankos got his level 6 right now. Flash is available. He's constantly focusing around perks. All series long, he just wants to get his mid laner ahead. Top lane is not going to be the exciting one this time around. Wonder will just be a tank and nothing else.
Has a bit of a push pressure for now, at least on the side of Ottawamne, as the Catalyst has not been completed for Sion. Darksteel just to give him a little bit more sustain in lane. On the side of Wonder, not ideal setup for the Sion. The Maokai just kind of heals so much in that early laning phase, but both tanks going to look to contribute in the team fights to come as Jankos sets his eyes on the Scuttle Crab and a little bit more topside control.
And I'm glad that we looked at the jungle matchup coming into the series. Like, you had Jankos, who's honestly been very inconsistent, all split long, and you have Xerxes, who's always solid, but he wasn't the big star jungler we saw in spring. And we're kind of hoping to see both players play at their peak, and I think in this series, both of them have actually done really well against each other. Xerxes, despite losing the last one, did everything he could on the Zac, and Jankos managed to snowball the game with the Skarner. Now, this game he's trying again, but he's around mid. And same thing for Kissing and, of course, Cersei on the Olaf.
Hjarn getting aggressive, not going to find the snare there with the Deadly Flourish, and Perk's now backing. This is an important point. He's going to refill that mana. He's going to pick up that Sheen, so a lot of potential burst damage to come through if he can get the resets in the mid lane.
Yeah, and there's no armor on the side of Niski whatsoever, so the all-in is really there. Stack up the passive, and then see if you can connect a stun, or you can throw out the ulti as Irelia while you dash in, it gets the reset for yourself, and then even if he flashes away, you can follow up with another dash. So there's a lot of ways for Perks now to try and set up a kill. Problem is, if anyone is around, they can just suddenly make it a 2v1, and now we get Ninja Tapping for Niski.
Spotted in the bush. Braum going to block what he can. G2 just taking these small advantages in trades, but Hjarn burned through mana pretty quickly.
And Kabi has no damage, like it is like 50 damage per hit or something.
You can see G2 though, they're getting aggressive. They're hoping to catch Kissing sleeping. Of course, Breakable not available quite yet, so if they do try to go on with Deed right here, Jankos will punish. Jankos will punish. There it is! Goes right in, does not manage to land the snare, and the rocket jump out though. Kabe using the mobility very nicely. Perks on the way down though. They could look to extend this with a dive. Cersei, if he commits here with the Predator, will be face to face with Perks, and he's not going to go for it. G2 just backing off, but they do force out 3 summoner spells on the side of Splyce in exchange for only 1 from Jankos.
Yeah, Yana right there missed his snare, doing the ulti of Jankos to try and keep Kabi in place a little longer, but the moment Kabi could jump out, he did, and was never really at risk of dying after using both his summoners. So as I did come down bot side, as you highlighted. I think he used the Predator to get there in time, so it is on cooldown for now. But G2 once again trying to be a bit proactive around the bottom lane. Right back to mid though, I need to see this 1v1 happen. But Niski knows, man, he has backup every time, because Xerxes is just sitting there. Odamna's on his way as well, or he might just be warding.
Multi can be used to clear the wave to keep pressure. Try to afford Hjarn a fair back. Kabe will be to the lane shortly. We're not going to see the 1v1 quite yet, and interesting play so far from Xerxes. He's been very, very defensive with how he's been playing the early game.
He's been the counter-ganking Olaf, which is not the standard we used to see. Right now on the bottom side, as you guys saw there with Jan ulting, he did get a very late recall, so Splyce have bot side control, can use that to roam mid lane with Kissing again, and that should stop Perks from doing anything. So Niski should be fine for now, after this push coming in. Drake also is alive, so Splyce can get a second Drake, and actually just should, because you get to push bot side into move to Drake. But he needs to be careful.
Perk's not going to go in though, he knows Olaf. Pretty terrifying at this stage of the game. If you try to go for that 1v1, unconcerned with the Aurelia CC, which is so much of how she wins out in these 1v1 exchanges. Now backing off though, Jankos can play the top side and the Rift Herald if he wants. Wonder's just sitting and waiting, but there is vision. Oh, it actually just now disappears. They're not going to go for it, but it would have been perfect timing if they tried.
They're still around mid. Look at this, Kissing and Xerxes together. They didn't go for Drake. They've got a bit of deep vision. Especially the control ward down near the red buff is a classic. Always do this in solo queue, by the way. No one checks this brush, ever, in a million years. And I think we've said this on broadcast for at least a couple of years, that this ward is great, and no one will ever check it. So just
reminder, if you die because they have vision there, and then you go to check it though, they sometimes wait in that bush to kill you because they know that you know now. So it's really a mental game, and just be careful around that bush.
Very fair. Now let's see, on the bottom side, Xerxes and Niski on the way, but I like the play from G2. They instantly step away, and they still have the Time Kench Devour on their side. This bot lane turret now will go down, and they're trying mid instead.
Now just going to pressure there, looking to trade 1-for-1. Okay with this exchange, knowing that they may not win out on that fight. Rift Herald used as well means they might go for 2, and if Ryze is the only man left to defend this tower, he might just get deleted immediately. Waiting for the ulti from Perkz. He can throw it out in an instant. Nisqy will have to flash on reaction or risk being taken down.
2 more members on the way. G2 will just take the first turret of the game in the mid lane.
Ooh, and Splyce don't even get the bot side one.
They will. They got it. They'll get Drake as well. I think Splyce here is actually correct what they're doing. Investing everything on bot side into then also get the Drake. G2 will use the big objective on getting a turret that they would actually have gotten anyway with the play they just set up. So in the end, with 4 members there, G2 would have killed the turret, but also ended up using the Rift Herald.
Works out in the end, not exactly what they wanted from the Herald. Gold, just about dead even. Very different story.
It was a safe play, right? Because what if Splyce move up to try and defend and you don't get the turret then? You look like a fool.
As we see Wonder all back to lane. But Deficio, this is very much feeling a lot more like the first game, where you do see some early exchanges here, you see some back and forth, but it is a much slower game, a much more controlled game, much less about individual outplays outside of that single instance where Perkz does kill Nisqy in the early game.
It is true. I expected more from the Olaf, in the sense that I thought he was gonna just be perma-ganking lanes, but Cersei has always favored farming before anything else on his side, and as you highlighted before, he's been reactive. He's just been there to defend his mid laner most of the time. They lost his mid lane turret, however, so the Irelia, if she gets the push, can roam and be a threat, but we're kind of waiting for that big fight to break out, and it's very interesting because we've had so many games in playoffs that have been so fast. Like, I feel like every game we had in Madrid was just like non-stop action in the early game. Jungler's going crazy, mid laner's trying to kill everyone. And this series now, here in game 3, just like game 1, is 2 teams who are trying to react a little bit more. It's not the same as the last game where we had effectively G2 winning all 3 lanes and just running over Splyce.
Not whatsoever. And very different series, very different teams playing. Wonder, though, maybe the guy who looks to go for these more
he's Wadid.
Tahm Kench is on the backside. Kabi gonna have to be smart about how he uses that rocket jump. Can input buffer to block one piece of CC, but G2 fishing, and they're not gonna catch anything.
Overreaching for sure here. If you're not committing to a tower dive when you go 5-man top, then you're not gonna get anything other than a flash from Kasing, and that's it. Meanwhile, mid, Nisqy gets to push bot side, a big wave crashing in. The Wonder is going to lose. Huge investment top lane from G2 without any setup in the first place.
We saw it in game 1. We might start to see it here as well. When it's a slower game, Splyce are the superior team. They play much more patiently. And execution is just a little bit better in these extended plays.
Predator's top right now. Ryze coming in.
Trying to get Wadid. Tahm Kench can't save himself. The flash will save him for now, though. Kabi's starting to stack a bit more damage. He's going to get locked down by Nisqy. Wadid now running for his life. Looks like they are going to be able to get him the reset on the jump. Kabi looking to bring one more back. The reload so poorly timed for Hyun, and he can't control it. Double dropping for Nisqy.
Yeah, and this all happens because G2 completely overcommit before when they try and make a play topside. Splyce get full push in the mid lane, so when G2 return to try and kill that wave, no one can protect the top side, and Splyce just say, fine, we now know you're alone with your dual lane, we're just gonna go kill you. Push your lanes first, then go for these big aggressive plays here in the early game. Otherwise, this ends up happening. And Splyce, great reaction on their side. Love the call with the Ryze ulti. That's another turret dropping now, and Kabi's gonna get the gold.
And now we have to see if Perkz still has kill pressure on Nisqy, who can actually rain out Supreme in this 1-3-1 if we get to that stage. G2 are gonna grab a tower of their own, but it's a trade. Paired with the kills on the top side, Splyce now comfortably at that 1.5k mark and may just look to break the mid lane as well. Perkz has opted for the Ignite. He doesn't have the TP. He can't come. He can't participate in this exchange. Jankos, though, if you can find an engage. If the Predator can find him Nisqy, maybe they can get a play here.
I hear Sion ult.
He's coming.
He's going mid lane, baby.
They're going. Trying to get Nisqy back. 1 stack, 2 stack, 3 on the Tahm Kench. They're going to hold him down. They want to get the kill. The Perkz is going to get the shutdown, though. Key for G2 to go back in this game.
It's actually fun to see the trades happening right here. Whenever a team is pushing a lane and they haven't gotten any control elsewhere on the map, they end up getting punished for it. Splyce here, if you look at the minimap, this is the replay from before. The setup is so strange from G2 because they're just all inning on trying to get Kasing down, but they have nothing else going on the map. So Nisqy gets to push mid. Bot side was already pushed in, and now we get that play where Splyce is saying, okay, fine, your dual lane is walking down river without any mid control, so they're overextended, we're gonna kill them. Nice play as well from Cersei, just charging them down.
We wanted to see more from Cersei's Olaf. Only played the 2 games before and did not look good.
One game
before, ever. Sorry, this is the second game. Did not look good. Now 0-0-2 is making an impact, exactly what you want from this champion. And before the point where Olaf starts to fall off, if they can keep snowballing this lead, he will continue to be a threat. And even better, as these towers are starting to fall, Kabe, despite being 0-0-2, is just getting more and more gold. 28 CS lead, 1.5 items completed. Once he hits that 3-item point, we saw yesterday what Kabe will do in a late game team fight if he gets to play the game.
That's the kind of thing with Tristana. You definitely do not pick her to win lane. That's for sure. Jin, on the other hand, with Tahm Kench, can be a tough lane to play against, but the fact that they are up in CS, they have now completed those 2 items you mentioned, is huge for Splyce and especially Kabe. Such a different game compared to the last one where Perks at this point, together with Wonder, were like 100 CS up, 5k gold, and they were just killing everything. Not happening this time around, and as we saw before here, G2 will try and reach a little bit. Let's see what happens.
Get the knockup. They spot him in the bush, though. Wonder now could be in trouble. Reset Perks waiting on the ultimate. He can hit multiple members, but it looks like they're just going to sacrifice Wonder here. Unstoppable now, and he's running for his life, but he just explodes. Reset there for Kabe. He's now leaping in. Hjarnan is in trouble. Pulling back, you can see so much pressure on the Splyce lineup.
No,
where are they going to go? Pulling back. Splyce just keep the ball rolling. Kabe takes down Wadidi's reaping. He's resetting, but it's not enough to take out Hjarnan on the bottom of your screen. Perks, though, in the eyes of Splyce. A lot of things that Aurelia can do, but the point and click from Ryze and Maokai means it's going to be hard for her to outplay, and Perks is just going to back away. But a beautiful play by Splyce in the end. 3k lead in their favor.
Yeah, once again, reacting very well to the move from G2. It was Wonder hiding in the brush right there, tried to set up the fight for his team, but all of Splyce, they were around ready to take the engage. And you saw almost instantly all of G2 started running. Let's see the setup once again. So they're hiding in here. Splyce, 5 members on bot side, so it's 5 versus 5 team fight at this point. They know, okay, something's happening, and Wonder is not able to actually land his Q onto anyone important. And now he just ends up being all alone, stuck in the point. I think the ulti from Odamna as well was just part of stopping G2 from getting in to help him. And this Ryze ult is great. Top side, though.
Perks on Frodo Wamne is going to have to back off. There's a lot of damage here, but he's going to tank the tower once again. His Corrupting Potion does a bit more damage. Keeps the tower aggroed on him. You look at the damage in the last fight. Fishu, I have to give credit to whoever threw down that Scrying Orb. Spotting Wonder with what could have been a 3-man knockup. You saw Kabe last second sidestep there. If he hit 3 people, maybe that's the fight that G2 can win. But the second that goes south, Wonder realizes I'm just standing in the middle of 5 people.
Yep, no one can help me right here. Wadid never got in to actually devour him out. And then Splyce wins another fight. And top lane, as we just saw once we got out of the replay, they did manage to stay alive again. Odamna had to use Flash, I believe. But that was it. I think Jankos could probably have gone in and tried to ult him anyway, once he actually got up there. But he saw instantly the Braum showed up, and there might have been more players going, so he played it safe.
And Niski, of course, has the teleport as well. And now we're seeing G2.
The safe play was fine there from Jankos. But you can see they really want Perks to keep getting kills. Feels like he is a bit of a one-man carry for this team, and he does have 2 early kills, and he's trying to then be the guy who can assassinate someone, but he's once again dealing with a very beefy front line.
Splyce just really are not giving them the opportunity to comfortably play 1-3-1, grouping so frequently in this 3-man unit, leaving the Maokai to clear on the bottom side, and now G2 grouping up to get control of the Baron area. See if this can give them back some lane prio. Perks still poking, still threatening. He knows he has the kill pressure if he can find an isolated target. Deficio, once again, slow game. Just feels like it goes in the favor of Splyce. 3k lead, 3 dragons as well. Maybe not excited about the Cloud, but the Infernal and the Ocean have been, or will be, key.
Also, you're almost at 3 items on Kabe right now. You'd probably get it around the 25-minute mark, and I don't think you can ask for anything else if you pick Tristana. Because those 2 kills he got in the last fight, huge for him and Splyce. And now it's the constant battle of vision around Baron.
And if you think about it, the Tristana has been there for all 3 tower takes, been there for 2 kills and 2 assists. That's 100% kill participation. They are funneling so many resources into this Tristana, and it doesn't even feel like it's paid off yet. One team fight where it looked good, and we have to wonder how it's going to look incoming, because you saw it round 1 versus Misfits. Kabe was everything for this team. 11 CS up, 776 damage per minute, 85 kill participation, always 100 here in this game, so things are looking good.
Yeah, and going into the last game, he had a 47% damage share on his team. I don't remember what it was after the last one, but that was huge. Like, everything in team fights in terms of damage came from him, and it's gonna be a lot like that in this one. Niski can be more of a setup for his team, and Niski might also be the target, as we've seen so often, because it's hard to get to Tristana with her mobility and then fairly long range in the late game. They do get onto Kasing here.
Pick him off before he can use the Unbreakable, trying to take him down as quickly as possible. 1 member picked off. We'll give G2 priority with the Baron area. Wonder's coming in, but just was there in case Trying to find the follow-up. Niski, though, now blinking forward with the minions, threatening that bottom lane tier 2, putting the pressure on G2, saying start that Baron or give up this tier 2. They're going to back off. They will still give up the tier 2. No, coming in. Are they going to chase down Niski? Looks like it's going to be the case. He's going to sidestep. Have to be careful here, though. Rise. We've seen a lot of 2v1s from Rises here in EULCS. Not going to take the risk.
So fast, man. Face rush as well on his side. We did try to get in range to actually lock him down and devour him. No Glacial Augment this time on his side. It is Spellbook, so no way to really slow down Niski. And in the end, while you do give up a kill, Splyce didn't lose anything else. Luckily, though, it's again Perkz getting it on his side. Problem for Yanan here on Jhin is it's really hard to deal with big tanks until you start getting those insane 80 numbers and you get like Last Whisper completed, and then yeah, sure, you can eventually get them down, but because you gotta reload, it's so annoying when you're dealing with big frontliners. And that's a really rough spot for him to be in right now. On the other side, Kobis actually felt like he's so far ahead that he can go QSS in this game. So even if he gets ulted by Skana, which could have been the way to stop him from dealing damage, he has a way out without falling behind in pure DPS because he has the 2 kills on Tristana here. Still, I feel like with G2, there is a way. Like a pick from Jankos into a Baron start, and I can definitely still see G2 Esports pick up this and then even out the gold, probably even get ahead. They just cannot make a mistake in a team fight because then Splyce, they have the scaling.
And also they're just at a point where opportunities are going to come less frequently because the QSS has now been completed from the side of Kabi. That's going to deny Jankos the pick potential. It's going to deny Perkz a lot of the pick potential. Maybe if both CCs are used together, they can pick up Kabi, but you're also talking about Tristana. The input buffer is there. While Wonder's going to do what he can to contest the bottom wave, you know that that Rise is strong enough to bully him off. And G2, they wanted to be the 1-3-1 team with this Aurelia, and it's just not quite coming together.
Oh no, they have to team fight in this game. There's no way they can win through pure split push here. Luckily, Aurelia is one of the better team fighting assassins, if we can call it that, or bruisers. Especially if you manage to land ulti on the back line. Could be huge for G2 Esports. Niski, however, he's back to split pushing. Wonder cannot stop him. Like, there's nothing he can do assign against him. It's only if you send 2 members down to try and kill him, which is an option for G2. But then you might give up the Baron.
And officially, I feel like so much of the series has been about the draft. Both teams changing a lot in each and every one of the games. G2 banning the Braum away for so long, now giving it over. You know, opting, interestingly enough, to ban out the Trundle. I have to wonder if that ban was better spent elsewhere, as, you know, this thing just continues to be obnoxious, and it disrupts so much of what Aurelia wants to do, so much of what Jhin wants to do. Hasn't taken them out of the game yet, as Perkz will take that side lane tower, and the rest of G2 just going to do what they can to hold on to this mid lane tier 2. Personally, I'd give it up, and it looks like that's going to be the choice G2 make as well.
What they have to do, the only member with gold, he's sitting top lane right now, so you don't really have any way of defending. It's really the Perkz show from G2 Esports, and honestly, if this team is going to make it to Worlds after such a rough second half of the split, after getting 3-0'd by Misfits in the quarterfinal, it really is just Perkz who needs to carry the team there. He's been trying, did it on Akali.
The second Cloud Drake getting picked up right now. They're not going to keep the pursuit up. I was going to say will be huge for them chasing down Perkz, but is not going to matter in the end. But 4 Drakes for Splyce means not only do they have late game team fights looking good with the Tristana, with the Braum, they also have late game Elder Dragon looking like a win condition too. And G2 just continuing to have the odds stacked against them here in this game 3.
We did get the upgraded Last Whisper now for Yanan, so there's a bit of damage coming from him towards the tanks. Obviously would love to get an IH as well fairly soon, but it's far away from him on this Jhin here. And it's kind of the thing about Jhin for me is I feel like he can be such a good pick if you don't rely on him as like one of your main damage dealers, especially like once we hit, if you haven't snowballed lane. But he's a strong laner, he's great utility, and he can get out of hand because he stacks so much AD on his side. But at this point in the game, when you are against a crit AD carry on the other side, you just feel really underwhelming as a Jhin because you didn't snowball laning phase hard enough, and you don't have your full late game build either.
The Perkz wants to take us a little bit further. Ulti now being used by the Jhin. They want to buy a little bit more time. Perkz is determined to go in. Kabi, is he going to get taken out? Yes, the shutdown, that is key. Perkz now trying to make it out of safety. Wadid is there. G2, you said they needed the pick to Vigio. Is this going to be enough for them to take the Baron? Perkz so low. Oda trying to turn it. Is the ulti going to be enough? It's not going to connect onto anybody.
Oh man, that was such a big play for G2 because Perkz also stayed alive right after. Looked like he was going to die, but we did manage to flash devour him. He's actually sneaking in behind them.
This might be enough. He wants to turn one more time. What's it going to be? Jankos has used the ulti. Braum trying to block as much as he can, but throwing through the middle of the team is Perkz trying to reset on the dash, just getting everything that he wants. Won't get the reset on Kasing, but this might be enough for G2 to turn. Niski now leaping out to safety.
Baron?
G2 have priority over Baron Official. I think they might just go for it.
Yeah, Niski's low, no flash on his side. Xerxes, no ulti either. G2 instead, they don't want to risk it. Looks like just a full reset after picking up the kills. Copy just respawned now and has to run from base. But because 3 members were still alive, they did not want to go for Baron here. They're delaying it a bit.
Official,
I think you could have tried, but that's kind of thing. It's all or nothing right now. Everything is on the line. You cannot afford to lose here.
You can't rely on that happening again. That took every single resource committed to kill Kabe. And you know that if the Braum was in position to block a little bit more of that damage, it would not have come through, or Perkz would have died in the exchange. It's going to take another miraculous play like that if G2 want to get control over this Baron pit. They have the vision for now. That's what they earned themselves, but that's it.
I mean, they're clearly saying we can do this again. Yanan actually picked up the kills. We just said, you know, we needed something from the Jhin. He managed to just get the last shot down. Let's see the whole setup. It's all looking at Perkz. Like, he's the guy who gets the ulti off here, starts the fight.
Baits the jump.
In a while. Baits the replay as well a little bit. There we go. We get it now. All in coming in. Yanan with the ulti, and that damage he gets on the Kabe right here at the end is huge with the last shot. So great play from Yanan to get it with Perkz. And now I thought he was gonna die. And okay, it's a 1-for-1, but with these flashes and gets him with the Devour, they all get out. And because of the red buff as well, Perkz managed to get a bunch of HP back, sneaks in behind the team, and sets up another play with G2.
G2, this is a good setup. Once the team fight, once the front to back is broken for Splyce, they just look so good in these exchanges. You can see live on your screen, blows being traded back and forth as both teams fight for priority in the mid lane, fight for vision in that pit. It's now Splyce's turn to play, to set up that vision. G2 aren't going to try to set up any kind of pick, any kind of death brush, because they see their lanes pushing out and they need to re-get control.
But we could see that kind of fight again. Honestly, the one thing that stood out was that Kabe, no one could peel properly from him. It was just a Braum, so he even got hit by the long-range ultis from Jhin. That normally shouldn't happen with the front line in front of you, but Splyce will eventually split up at least a little bit, and Perkz can fire another ulti and then try and jump towards him. It's just the Jhin ults that shouldn't be hitting the AD carry if you have your tanks in front of you. But Yanan, man, he snuck it in there and managed to shoot him in the face.
That is exactly what happened. Splyce, though, just going to start at the Baron. Vision, G2, they need to contest this one.
Wonder's on its way, TPing in now.
They got the TP once again. Splyce did this exact thing in game 1, where they started the Baron, they forced the TP. This is the clean kind of Baron play we've been expecting from them. But have they opened themselves up to getting picked off here in the jungle by G2? Perkz ready to start. Is it going to connect on the pause?
The Q! That was close. I thought it was going to hit. Everyone stepped away.
So close to being that huge turn. Kabe does get stunned up, but we'll get the input buffer to take him out to safety. G2 have gained priority over mid lane. Ottawamne looking for the engage on the flank. If Perkz get caught up here, could be disaster for the team. Jankos is going to get locked up. He wants to turn it. Manat's going to connect the multi-man stun. Kabe uncontested on the backside, trying to do what he can. Perkz using the ulti as a disengage. Wants to leap back in. There's the Defiant Dance. Buys a bit more time. Has the reset on the backside. That's 3 members locked up. Perkz, though, just going to find the disengage. G2 in control of the fight, but Olaf just backing off. Now looking for the turn. Perkz hunting for that prey. Sees an opportunity. Is not going to be able to capitalize, however.
Oh, in the end, Splyce traded that TP for a mid lane turret going down. G2 had, of course, full control of mid lane after Baron was started. And we got to see one of the problems for Splyce is their engage is very slow. It's a very slow, long-range ulti from Ottawamne and then a Predator Olaf trying to run at G2. So they got far enough away that only one member got CC'd and they didn't end up giving up anything. But that TP being down can be big for Splyce now. Because if Ottawamne and Wonder sits in the bottom lane, Otto's TP is there. Splyce can once again try to get control of mid, start the Baron, and Wonder will have to run. But luckily he's Sion. He can ult to the fight. So there is ways for him to get in there and actually do something. It might not be too bad for G2. Kabe there in the last fight. Starting to see again. Once he has time, he can deal some serious damage. But Perkz GA is ready. And they didn't actually get him down when he jumped in. He literally jumped into 4 people.
I mean, it was really key that he had the Sterix gauge go off at the right time, getting all that additional shielding. It is going to get harder and harder, though, for them to survive these fights. The QSS delayed a bit of the damage on the side of Kabe, keeps him a little bit safer, but with the Last Whisper now completed, things This could get a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, and we see right here, Wonder's just staying in mid with the team, knowing without the teleport he doesn't have to go bot lane yet. No push either. It's gonna be a very slow wave building from Splyce. They have 5 Drakes, however, on their side. They will probably trade that for the top lane tier 2 turret. Perkz will eventually kill it, and no Baron yet. We're once again waiting for that next big fight. There have been some very, very close ones so far. We might get it here.
Now fighting for it. Yarnan, where are you? Why are you in the middle of the enemy team? Deleted a meat. Nothing you can do. Caught out. Yarnan. That is disaster.
That's now Baron for Splyce. I thought we were going to get a sick 5-on-5 team fight, but we get an AD carry getting caught out. Both summoners ready. He just dies. Perkz is trying to get a top lane turret, but that's it. That's Baron now for Splyce. They have 5 Drakes on the side as well for when Elder Drake will later spawn if they need it. And we're going late game.
On the path for Perkz to escape. G2 were hanging on by a thread to Fischio. They could go toe-to-toe with the late game Tristana. But after that play, I don't know if that's true anymore. Getting the Baron is going to make this Tristana nigh unstoppable. The Braum here as well, to deny anything from killing these cannon creeps is going to be insanely difficult for G2 to fight against.
And those last 2 fights where G2 managed to get 1 kill or 2 kills and then get out, wasted now. Yarnan is simply walking the wrong way around in the jungle. Might not even be looking at his character at the moment because he didn't flash or anything, and he just dies.
Indeed, not using the Devour either. But Deficio, you're checking. I'm going to let you check. You're going back to look at the replay. In the meantime, I'll hold it down because Wonder is running for his life. Predator coming out. Jankos is trying to threaten a little bit. Perkz is trying to find a flank. This is desperation times. 5 Drakes on the side of Splyce. You wanted to catch him. It's not going to happen. Triple Cloud. And Perkz, sadly, is the man who will get caught, though. Has to burn the flash. That's a very fast Olaf. Unstoppable now. Perkz in trouble. All of the gold for G2 being thrown away right in this instance. This was the last desperation play they could hope for in this exchange, and Perkz just gets deleted.
And G2, what are you doing? You can't afford to do this if you want to go to Worlds. From going back and looking at the play, it's just the team loses all control of where the enemy team is, and Yarnan just walks to a red buff, well, with everyone else on the other side, and he just gets instantly CC'd and dies.
And that was Perkz' first death this series to Fischio, and I mean, what a death.
GA is now gone. Splyce, again, once we go full late game here, are simply punishing G2 for some of these big, big mistakes. And now they're gonna push down, get the mid inhib. They can probably get the bot side as well, because right now Skarner is top. He's just recalled. Perkz still dead for 15 seconds. Nothing
Perkz
stops
also
them.
has no flash. Splyce could, in theory, just look to end the game right here. I don't think they're gonna push for it. They've been so slow and controlled, but maybe that's an opening if they can find it. Without Perkz to dive into the backline, though, there's really no threat on Nakabe.
Oh, they don't have to risk it now. Get double inhib, get your perfect reset as well. You haven't lost anything in your own base. Kabe's now full items. Niski is sitting on 4 fully complete items on his side. And this team is ready, man. You need one more fight and this is over. So tense. So many fights actually go in G2's favor until that play in the jungle.
I mean, you know, you start to believe after you see 2 back-to-back exchanges where Perkz and G2 just outplay the opposition, make use of what looked like an unwinnable situation. Oh, hello, amazing. Waiting in the gauntlet to play tomorrow, has some strong words. Perkz did have to play Splyce, but little did he know that his team was going to be the bigger enemy. Rough, but you know, you have to wonder if that's how a lot of G2 fans are feeling, seeing Perkz play incredibly well across the games and seeing the rest of G2 fumble a bit here and there.
Definitely hurts a lot to see what happened just before here, but honestly, Splyce, they've been punishing some of these mistakes multiple times. And we gotta give them that credit. Like, one thing is the enemy team gives you the opening, and another one is you actually take it and you use it to instantly kill the AD carry. Will they get the last ending very easily? It feels like at this point G2 have to just go for an all-in fight and try and win it.
Want to try to stop it. Perkz has been locked up. They're just going to focus on the tower and try to back off. Odoamne has used the ultimate knock-up, not going to connect from Wonder. Both sides now backing off. Splyce, eye on the prize. Third inhibitor, their goal.
No QSS on Niski. Flash ulti from Jankos. It is available. It is possible to try and kill the Rise. Problem is there's of course an AD carry next to him. But if you gotta get someone, feels like it has to be Niski at this point. But look how far back he's staying. He knows he's actually gonna be the target.
Superminion's moving in on the bottom side. Perkz desperately fishing for something, but connecting a stun onto a Maokai is not enough to get it started. He can't get the reset if he dashes in an ultis right now. Will not go for it. We'll let the mark fade off Minions have to be responded to on the bottom side. Tom Kench going to go to respond to them. G2 know they have to give up this in third inhibitor, but that is basically a death sentence. That was their window of opportunity to fight, and it is gone. It is closed. G2 in desperation times, their last stand here.
And turret is down as well, almost. Perkz trying.
Once you get the reset, the knock-up not going to connect. Odoamne now moving forward. Perkz potentially in trouble, tries to block as much damage as he can, throws out the ultimate to buy a little bit more time, disarming a few members of the team. The knock-up is there, but it's just not enough. There is no follow-up from G2. They're fighting the minions, they're fighting Splyce, and they're not winning either battle right now. Jankos goes down as Kaba is on a rampage. The fourth shot from Jin does absolutely nothing to Odoamne, and a single play from G2 turns the entire game in the favor of Splyce, and a beautiful finish here in Game 3.
Yeah, this game suddenly ended a lot earlier than I expected when we saw the close team fights, but Splyce didn't even get the team fight. They just got an 80 carry into a couple extra kills because of a red buff. A stupid red buff. That was it. Complete tunnel vision.
Jin, you proc it four times in a fight total.
It was just complete tunnel vision up in that topside jungle for the red buff. Instantly punished by Splyce. They take down Perkz right after, get his GA, get his flash. Nothing stops them from getting the entire base. And man, what a way for Splyce to end up winning this game here. Up 2-1 now in the series. This one did not snowball like the second game. And we have seen now, if you're Splyce, your #1 goal is to make sure the first 20 minutes are slow. You don't need a lot of action. You do not want to give G2 a bunch of strong lanes and a jungler that can then snowball these strong lanes, like with the Akali and the Aatrox. All you're looking for is a slow grind. And G2 will give you opportunities to get punished.
It's a difficult situation to be in. G2's backs against the wall. Splyce up now 2-1 in round 2 of our regional qualifier. Will they advance to face Schalke No Fear tomorrow in round 3, or can G2 turn it around? We're going to find out after the break.